What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad Sean, and today reactions to the classics. Get ready for a super-sized edition as we continue our series going through the Beatles records, ranking songs on each album from worst to best, and today it is up to the Beatles self-titled record, The White Album. 30 songs, Dad.
Yep, it's super sized today.
It's a monster, but man, we're excited to dive in and discuss one of the most famous double records of all time.
It is, it's their 9th of 12 albums, and on that means we got 8 other song rankings up. Check them out after this. Let's get into this, Trey. I'm not going to have much quick facts because we're going to go pretty fast, and then we'll talk about how we're going to do it. Released in November of 1968, as I mentioned, 9th of 12 UK albums. The singles Hey Jude and just Revolution, we do have some revolutions on here, were the singles on here. Most of it was recorded at Abbey Road Studio number 2, but a couple tracks were at Trident. We had the aforementioned Hey Jude and Dear Prudence were done at Trident because they had an 8-track player. Now, towards the end of the recording, the Beatles figured out there was an 8-track sitting in a storage closet at Abbey Road because EMI had this huge kind of policy that we're going to test everything extensively before you use it. But they insisted the engineers get it out, and Emmerich and his buddy got it out, and they started using it there. But only 16 of the 30 songs are actually have all 4 Beatles on there. So it's almost like the beginning of the solo project.
I think George even has quoted that before, that this is the record where the public at large started to accept their individual contributions as well. And that is just interesting to note that just over half of these songs have all the members on it.
Yeah, and famously, George Martin wanted to make this one album, and someday maybe we'll rank out the top, 12 or 14 and make them now. But this thing had extreme success at this time commercially because we're coming off all these hot albums. It debuted at number 1 in the UK, spent 8 weeks at the top in the US. Capitol sold over 3.3 million copies to stores within the first 4 days of the release, spent 9 weeks at number 1. Sold over 12 million copies in the US alone, and it's the Beatles' most certified album at 24 times platinum. So, Trey, as we jump into this, look, it's going to take a while to go through these, so it's actually your idea. It's a great idea. We're going to rank them 5 at a time rather than going back and forth until we get to the top 10. Now, I will say before we start, if you're a regular watcher of this channel, you already know this, but I don't think super highly of this album. I enjoy it for what it is. I don't think it's up in their upper echelon. When I went back and listened to it, I hadn't heard it for a while. I actually realized I like it less than I thought I did.
Yeah,
there's still good songs in here, but it's 30 songs, man. It's a lot.
Well, no, it's a very polarizing
it is. Some people say it's
album
favorite album ever.
In that respect, man. So I guess we can kick it off 5 at a time. You want to start?
I'll start. It'll be real easy, okay? So we're going to start out with number 30. Wild Honey Pie. It's 52 seconds long. No other Beatles were on it. Then we're going to go to Honey Pie at number 29. If you have honey in your title, it's not great. Only Paul on this, an homage to the dance hall music. I absolutely hate this song. I almost
me too.
Put it at number 30. My number 28 is 9. Revolution, number 9. It's fine. I actually like it more that I listened to it again. It's got over 45 different soundscapes on here. We got George Martin on here, Yoko, George, and John. 27, I got Don't Pass Me By. Actually credited to Ringo. First wrote it a long time ago. Played it for the Beatles originally in 1962. Those were easy. Then it got a little bit difficult. My number 26, Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except Me and My Monkey. Written by Lennon about Yoko. Many listeners, including McCartney, thought it was about heroin. What do you got, my man?
Well, we have the same bottom two. Wild Honey Pie is my 30. Honey Pie is my 29. As you said, this is just Paul at his most syrupy, granny type style. I cannot stand this type of vaudeville style music, man. And especially when Paul's like, I like it like that. Like, Paul, I don't like it like that, man.
No.
As much as I love Paul McCartney, he's actually taking the bottom 3 spots for me. 28. Why Don't We Do It in the Road? Just a track that's fine for what it is. Once I've heard it once, I'm good to go, though.
Those lyrics, the same lyrics for like a minute 52, so I get you.
So, Paul ramps himself up there. Coming in at my number 27. My first George tune, I'm going with Piggies here, with a bit of that lush instrumentation. That with the lyrics, it just doesn't really mesh well for me. I like the other George tunes on here much more. 26 is a song that I really thought about putting much higher, but I do have Revolution 9 coming in at number 26. I do think it is not the worst Beatles song of all time, like so many publications and people think. I do think it is impressive for that music concrete avant-garde style. So that is what I got.
25, I got Mother Nature's Son. Sun, written by McCartney, inspired by a lecture given by the Maharishi, who we'll talk about more later. Although credit to the group, performed by Paul alone with a brass arrangement by Martin, while the other Beatles were working on other songs, which we're going to come across a lot. Guitar work is good there. I got Why Don't We Do It in the Road at 24. 23, I got my first Harrison Savoy Truffle, written by Harrison, inspired by his friend Eric Clapton's fondness for chocolate. 22, this one's tough, man. I Have a Good Night. I really like that song. You know, Ringo's singing it. John wrote it for Julian, and there's all this instrumentation on there, and John had told George Martin, I want this to sound kind of syrupy, kind of old school Hollywood. So that's what I got at 22. And then my number 21. This one's hard too. I got Birthday.
That's a rocker.
It's almost my birthday. I'll play this for my birthday instead of Happy Birthday to You. But that's what I got at 21. What do you got?
Well, I think that's a good point to just mention that for a lot of these, especially in the middle, like they're very close, like within 10 spots. You know,
I moved a lot. You can move some of this stuff 15 spots. I wouldn't argue with you a bit. It's just something's got to go here, so it goes here. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go 25. A bit of a hot take in here. It is a song like Martha, My Dear, that's grown on me, but I have I Will by Paul. You know, a bit of a song that puts a smile on your face, to steal a line that you do, a pleasant melody, but can be a little overly sentimental for me. Maybe it's just my cold heart. But going now to number 24, I got Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey. Harrison riff and incessant bell give this a nice roaring energy. A fun track, I think, is rightly towards the bottom though. 23, I'm going with Don't Pass Me By, the Ringo country-inspired number here. You already touched on it, Dad. I know that ranks towards the bottom for most people, but hey, man, I like the 2 Ringo tracks on here. Number 22, I'm going a personal favorite for I know many, a great concert song. We have seen this in concert, Obla Di Obla Da. I'm just going to keep maybe the hot takes coming in here. Here they go a little of that ska inspiration right here, and you know, there's a lot of instrumentation. Again, a lot of fun energy in this track.
There is. It's fun sing along, and he drove the other Beatles absolutely insane with the song.
Yeah, it just I just like the other tracks above it more. Simple as that. And at number 21, I'm gonna hit up what you mentioned already, Dad. Savoy Truffle here, an ode to all the Sweet Two lovers like myself out there. Shout out to you, George. And I think it kind of in the sequencing of the record, it adds yet again a bit of that fun and light affair.
Fun. So, you know, this is telling you that they really were just putting whatever out. It's just writing about a box of chocolates at Clapton. Like, all right, so there we go. We're to the top 20. I got Long, Long, Long by Harrison. And I really like this song. They did
killer tune.
67 takes of just the rhythm track. So he said it's addressing God. One of their longest albums or recording sessions ever, finished at 7 a.m. So I do like it. This goes at 20. Number 19, we got Your Blues, which I know a lot of people just absolutely love. It's okay for me. The guitar works fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. 18, I got Martha, My Dear, written by McCartney. It's about his dog. He admitted that later on. It's fine. It's a lot better than Mother's Nature's Son and some other stuff for me. 17, I got Cry Baby Cry. This is a Lennon with McCartney is the way it's attributed.
Yeah, that Can You Take Me Back put on at the end. I like that, you know, they just kind of added that on. It flows perfectly.
McCartney's little stuff, the last few 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I think John sounds fantastic on this one. And 16, I got Piggies. You already mentioned it. It's fine, man. I get what it is. A little social commentary, you know, on the government and what's going on. So there you go. There's 20 through 16.
Well, my number 20 is going to be Birthday, which you have already touched on Lennon and Paul McCartney singing you happy birthday, man. It's a great opener. It, you know, starts off that second disc as well. I think that the track listing on this record, they did a great job switching up the moods and styles of music. You know, there's everything in the kitchen sink on here for you, which I think lends to why people love it so much.
I do too.
My number 19 is going to be Mother Nature's Son. That warm trumpet backing complements the smile-inducing melody from Paul here. A bit weaker lyrically, which drops it below some of Paul's other hits on here. 18, I'm going with that very lush orchestral tune, Good Night, which I think works perfectly as a closer.
Yeah, it's great.
And I think that one of Ringo's better vocal performances
for sure
has obviously that lullaby type of feel to it. Number 17, I got the continuing story of Bungalow Bill. You have that well done contrast from the drawn out verses to the up-tempo chorus, making it catchy. I think Yoko actually adds some positivity.
She actually does.
With that high-pitched backing vocal, whistling in there, have a bit of that politically charged story with the whole gun element to it as well. So I know some people are not a fan of this song. I know you're a huge fan. I'll let you talk on it more. more when it gets to your list. Number 16 for me is going to be one you touched on, Dad. I got Cry Baby Cry.
Yeah. It's a great song. All right, we're halfway through, and we're hauling along here, guys. So number 15, I got I Will by McCartney. Features him on lead vocal, guitar, and vocal bass. Words were worked on in India remained unfinished even as recording began in London. Basic track required 67 takes. I didn't cover it at the beginning. They wrote over 40 songs while they were in India. McCartney and Lennon just snuck off, and that's why there was partly so much material on this. 14 track. I can't believe I have it this high because I have really bagged on this song. I got Obladi Oblada.
Obladi, baby.
42 hours to finish. I just think on further listen to it, it's more fun for me than some of these other tracks. It's probably not as good. It does show off McCartney's versatility. Even though some of the stuff you and I don't so much care for, he goes from all kinds of different things.
He's an all-star on this whole record.
Now we go to Sexy Sadie at 13 for me for Lennon. Written as a response to the Maharishi after he was making sexual advances supposedly on Mia Farrow.
Right.
He sounds great on this.
I love that tune, man. I think it's a very underrated Beatles tune that doesn't, get brought up since it wasn't a single or anything like that.
Now I'm going to take heat where I had Your Blues. I'm going to take heat on this next one. At 12, I have Julia. Written about his mother who was killed when he was 17 years old. I think it's beautiful. I think it's fantastic. It's just on this album. There are a ton of tracks we covered. It's number 12. And my number 11, you already mentioned, I got the continuing story of Bungalow Bill. Yoko does add something on here. The only official Beatles track where somebody else is credited with vocals besides them.
Nice.
And yes, I said something nice about Yoko her singing. I don't have anything against her personally. If you're watching this, you're going to be shocked. This one was actually recorded all in one session. In that same session, they totally recorded something that's much higher for me. I'm So Tired.
Oh, that's right.
They turned both of these out. But there we
Prolific.
go. We're already in my top 10. What you got?
Well, maybe going to keep the hot takes coming here. I do love this song. I can't believe it's putting in square at the middle for me. But number 15, I got Glass Onion. I really enjoy the callbacks here to Full on the Hill, I Am the Walrus. The Walrus was Paul, ladies and gentlemen. It is a bit short, too, just a little over 2 minutes. But it has a bit of that psychedelic nature to it.
And there's another shot at people who try to read into the Beatles.
Yeah, I got to peel off all the layers.
He's like, leave me alone. So I like that about it.
Number 14, I'm going Martha, My Dear. This is one from our original review, which you can go and check out. Did that detailed track by track review.
It's a two-parter.
I wasn't as high on some of these Paul tracks, but this one's definitely grown on me. It doesn't get in that area of being schmaltzy like I think some of these other tunes that Paul can do sometimes. But man, lovely tune right here. Number 13, Julia. So we were about at that same level right there. Emotion John puts on it is lovely and in sequence. It works as the closer to that first disc. Number 12, I got Your Blues. I really enjoy blues music, and I know Lennon obviously did as well. So yet again, seeing all the different types of styles, like how many genres have we
it's crazy.
name dropped in this review here, and I think that's part of that charm of just the White Album as a whole collective unit, and Your Blues is evidence to that. The guitar work from Harrison is top notch, man, and yet again shows his talent on this whole record as well. Number 11, I am going with country folk blend here, the inspiration to the Marvel character of the same name. We got Rocky Raccoon here, a Paul tune that I see on a lot of lists that ranks lower. Man, I've always loved this one. Very cinematic in scope, Dad. You could just see that imagery going through with Paul's lyrics, and I just love the way he delivers it, kind of with a little bit of a, not edge to him, but he's got that charisma about him in this, and man, it's just been a charming tune since the first time I heard it.
Oh, there we are. We're to our top 10. Going to go with Blackbird by McCartney. We saw this in concert. It's fantastic. He wrote it in India, he says, about a blackbird that he saw, but then later on, he might have written it about some civil rights issues.
But my number 10, I'm going with I'm So Tired. Yet again, it showcases how strong Lennon's choruses were. I think on this record, he does an aptly fatigued vocal delivery, which is what you would want and expect. And as somebody, man, that is often fatigued and tired after the end of a long day, man, this song works well.
Oh, it's fantastic. So number 9, I got Back in the USSR.
Hey, same here.
A little take of the Beach Boys' California Girls and Chuck Berry's Back in the USA. It works for me. It's a good track. It's a fun track. Puts a smile on your face. Starts
So
out
catchy.
Starts out the whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think those plane noises that flying overhead,
Nice
just
touch.
a lovely introduction to the record. And yeah, those Beach Boy-esque harmonies right there. We don't have like a ton of those harmonies on this record in general. I think that's one of the reasons this song has so much charm to people. And now we're up to number 8.
And I forgot to mention, McCartney actually plays the drums on Back in the USSR.
No, that's right.
It's not a feel-good story. It's because Ringo quit temporarily for Paul criticizing, which, if you don't know about these sessions, there was a lot of issues between the boys in this session. My number 8, I got Glass Onion.
Oh, there you go. It
went way up my list. If you go back and watch our reviews, I didn't really care for it that much, but I really enjoy it now.
Oh, I hear you there, Dad. My number 8's one you've already touched on. We have Long.
Yeah, I almost I'm glad you put it. I put it at 20, and I kept going back. I'm like, how could I do that? But it was tough.
I really do think this is one of the most underrated tunes, at least talked about tunes for how good it is in the Beatles catalog. It's very spiritual in nature, and you can really feel that in George's delivery. And he has that quiet, vocal delivery in the verses, and then the drums kind of compounded in, and at the end you almost have this like tribal type of chant. It's very spiritual in nature, man, and it stands out as something totally unique on this collection.
I agree. I don't have much to say about my number 7. It's Rocky Raccoon. You already mentioned it. Written by McCartney, Lennon, and the great Donovan, who was hanging out in India with him. You already said it, the different voice that he sings it in, the sarcasm. It is a sarcasm, a little snarky.
Yeah.
I love it, man, but I know a lot of people don't like it. What you got to say?
My number 7 is going to return back to the blues, at least on the guitar lead, and then a very chilled out vibe here with Revolution 1. Obviously, a take, the more famous Revolution was the single that came out.
Yes.
That was, of course, much more up-tempo and rocking.
Which John didn't want to do. John wanted this.
No, and man, it really adds a totally different dimension, obviously, to the track most people know and love as the single, but this has a lot of charm for me as well. Very relaxing type of tune. Yet again, Lennon here just almost whispers the lyrics right here, and you could just imagine you're in a circle chilling out in the studio with the lads, and man, I really enjoy it for that.
I agree with you. All right, I'm up to my number 6. I know a lot of people have this at like 2 or 3, but I got Helter Skelter. A lot of people say the first heavy metal song ever. The guitar work is obviously fantastic. Story behind this real quickly. Paul was inspired to write it after reading an interview with The Who's Pete Townsend when he described their latest single, I Can See for Miles, as the loudest, rawest, dirtiest song The Who had ever recorded. He wanted to top it, so there you go.
No, that's a great tune. It's coming up for me in just a little bit, but my number 6 is one you already touched on, Dad. It's going to be Sexy Sadie, which has a little bit of everything instrumentally here. We talked about Paul on the drums back in the USSR. Here, he jumps on the piano and the organ, which I think is a highlight here instrumentally. Backing vocals add a sweetness to the shots John is throwing to the Maharishi's way. Like Happiness is a Warm Gun, the movements of the song are impressive while managing to be catchy all in one, and it inspired another one of my favorite bands and favorite songs, Karma Police by Radiohead. That piano riff, man.
Yeah,
so got to give it some props for that. And now, Dad, we are up to the top 5. Let the debates begin.
And I'll let you go first since I went first on 10 through 6.
Well, this is going to be one that kicked off your top 10. I'm going Blackbird at number 5. I mean, just one of the most gorgeous melodies. I mean, Paul is the expert of being able to write a melody that bites down into you, and you just love it, man. Just him, the foot tapping, the acoustic guitar, it all works for me. It's a very pretty song.
It is a very pretty song. My number 5 track, Happiness is a lot of things. For me, it's not this, but for John, Happiness is a Warm Gun, number 5, a fantastic song. Just every part about it, the way it's arranged, is inspired by him seeing George Martin's American Rifleman magazine sitting there in the studio, and he saw that. He read something about Happiness is a Warm Gun, and he found that so ironic because that means you've actually used that gun.
That's
you've
right.
Fired at somebody, you've killed something, but man, it is just it's so I can hear the chorus in my head right now.
Dude, it's awesome, and I'm glad you had it that high. Yet again, one of those tracks that you just you love and continue to love the more you hear it.
The more you hear it.
Well, my number 4 then is going to be Helter Skelter. Relentlessly energetic with one of my favorite Paul vocals and Ringo drum beats. You have that 90-second instrumental that ends, has a couple fade outs, fade ends, and of course the famous line from our guy Ringo, "I got blisters on my fingers." It just shows too that the Beatles could get heavy when they wanted to at this point in their career,
Exactly.
and yet again showcases the wide range of styles. There literally is something for everybody on this record.
There is. My number 4 you already covered, Revolution 1. I like it for the same reasons you like it. I've seen people have this in like the 20s, so that kind of shocked me. But I think it holds right up with the single. For a long time, I didn't know which one I liked better.
No,
I still
it's
think
great,
I like
man.
the single better, but you could convince me of this. So what do you got at 3?
Number 3 is a tune that neither of us have mentioned yet, Dear Prudence.
That's my number 3 as well. So
nice,
we're
dude.
finally in sync.
Well, yet again, I'm going to harp on Paul and his bass line here. One of the best bass lines I think he ever composed. That mix with that electric guitar makes for an innovative tune, and I think the build up to that final verse and kind of minute of the song is one of the best parts of the record. And then, Dad, when you know the backstory of this track as well, I think it adds another dimension of enjoyment.
Yeah, Prudence was Mia Farrow's sister. Lennon and Harrison were kind of assigned to her, sort of. They're kind of in a group. She wouldn't come out of her living quarters because she was obsessive about meditating and stuff. And so John actually wrote this to her. He uses this claw-picking style of playing the guitar that he learned from Donovan while he was there. Just a fantastic song. What do you got at number 2, Trey?
Well, my number 2 here is going to be Happiness is a Warm
Man,
Gun.
I love it, dude.
Ooh, man, the movements of this is almost like 3 songs spliced in one. Thinking back to Radiohead, I know there's been rumors that this inspired a Paranoid Android from them as well. Chorus, yet again, is expertly done. Harrison kills the lead guitar. John's lyrics are a bit surreal at times, and the switch in tempos so often in a less than 3-minute track is impressive. The tension built in the song eases on the chorus with a splendid backing vocal section as well. Just a song I don't get tired of.
My number 2, you had it a lot lower, but it's hard to this. I'm So Tired.
I love it.
He wrote it basically after 3 weeks of insomnia in India. You know, he wrote it too, but thinking about Yoko, even though they didn't have a relationship yet. But I don't know, man. I hear this song and I just jive with it, man. So that, Trey, is going to bring us to number 1. We got the same one.
We
obviously have the same number 1, and it wasn't even close for me. What about you?
Oh, same here, man. This is a top 10 Beatles tune for me.
Ever. Yeah, I agree.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps, ladies and gentlemen. Harrison only had 4 tunes out of 30 on here, but
boy,
man,
he made this one count.
Oh yeah, he made the most of it, and I mean, obviously, without saying, the guitar work on here is splendid. Not only from George, but from a little cameo, uncredited.
Mr. Eric Clapton comes in because the Beatles didn't really want to play on this. They still, they weren't giving George his due. I'm glad this made it here and didn't show up later on All Things Must Pass like a lot of his other fantastic songs. 136 on the Rolling Stones top 500 songs of all time. Yeah, it's just unreal and gives you a preview of what he's going to be able to pull off in All Things Must Pass.
Yeah, and yet again manages to be catchy while still throwing in those Georgisms, those kind of big picture concepts that George obviously loved to write about, and just kind of that introspective nature that George had, looking around at the world, and the guitar's weeping. He's gonna kind of express himself through that music, and just hope that one day we can all come together. Little preview for Abbey Road down the road.
So we're at the end of this thing. Like you mentioned, Trey, we actually did track by track review that was so big we had to do 2 videos. They'll be linked in here. Go check them out. We have a Beatles playlist of nearly 50 videos right now, so we've really invested some time into this. Retrospectively, I don't really remember what I rated this the first time around. For me, this one's a tough one to rank, but because there's so many songs, I'm going to be like a 7.75 or an 8.
Ooh, yeah.
I know some of you love it, and just before you leave comments, guys, don't pull out one song and say, I can't believe this song is number 9. Well, where are you going to have it? Rank them. It's hard.
You take one out.
Something's 15 doesn't mean it's bad at all. It's just, man, with this many songs, there's obviously a lot of quality.
No, I think that's a great point, Ed. It is tough to rate these double albums where, the top of the top is so great, and then there's some, towards the bottom and the middle that's like, man, they should have chopped this, chopped that. I know Ringo himself said he thought they should have done a single album. Obviously, George Martin did as well. Paul held firm to the fact that, I know what many people say, that because it's so dense, because there's so many different styles on here, that's part of the charm of the White Album to a lot of people.
Especially if you were alive whenever it was out. But I will take a little bit of exception to what you said. There's so many great songs at the top. See, I don't think so. I think there's only one great song on this album, and that's While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Really? Yeah, I would say Happiness is a Warm Guns. I'd say most of the top 10 are great.
I'd say they're really, really good. I'm talking like of Beatles quality.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking about overall, but I'm saying of Beatles songs, that's the only one that's going to really fall in probably the top 20 for me.
No, I can see where you're coming
you're
from
on
an
outstanding.
Yeah, no,
too.
I see where you're coming from on that, man. And speaking of ranking the record, I'd be somewhere in that probably 8.5 range for me, man. I think it's a great record. On that cusp of the top 5 for the Beatles for me. If it was a single, you could argue would be their best, album, or in that top 3 at least. It would be up there. But it's a double album, and I think you just gotta, kind of tip your cap to artists that go out there, go with the big scope here. Let's release a double record and go all out with it in any type of genre that we want to. You can make some quibbles, of course, here and there. This should have been cut, this or that. But man. All these years later, we're still talking about it.
And I'm glad they did it, but part of the reason why they put that out there is because nobody would agree to cut any of their songs. So here we are. But yeah, I'm glad it's there. I really did enjoy it.
No, man. So of course, as always, this is just our opinion. Let us know your rankings of the White Album songs down below. You can give your top 10, or if you're ambitious, give the top 30, just like we did. We will also have our list in the description as well. I know that we were firing away.
Yeah, we're trying to go quick for you guys. We want to keep you here for a half hour.
Well, and next time, Dad, we're gonna go in the order that their records were recorded and not released. So that means Let It Be is up next. And then of course we're gonna finish out with Abbey Road. So still some great stuff on the horizon here. As always, Dad, appreciate all the research.
Oh man, it's fun.
And until next time, y'all, thanks for watching, happy listening, and we will see you.